Alrighty. We should be going. Let me just let the Discord know. Or did my thumbnail not update? Let's have a look. Customization, nope. Come on now. That's better. If I edit message, will this cause the thumbnail? Yeah. There we go. Cool. Looks like we're live. I'm just booting into my game. Status live, dropped frames. Already a handful. It's a good sign. Alright. We're going to be starting shortly. It's going to be a fairly short stream. I do not have all the time in the world this evening. How we going, booting in? Taking our sweet time. Taking our sweet time. So, the plan. What are we doing today? Title says it all. We're beating Jeff on Nightmare 4. We've already done every other hero. We did it all in one stream. Almost got all 5, but the Wanda boss fight, as I learned, you've got to take particular care to be scaling at the correct rate. So if you just scale for the maximum sort of balanced build by the end of the run, you don't have enough damage by the time you get to round 10 and face that first Wanda boss fight. So we're going to be adjusting our strategy ever so slightly today, and we'll see how we go from there. All right. So, what I think we need to do is I think we just need to start out with some decent RNG. I think we need to get Jeff's DPS upgrade early, and then we need to duplicate it a couple of times. Now, I should be able to switch this over to game view. Ah, my hotkey's not universal. I didn't launch OBS as admin. That's annoying. Oh, is it still going to pick up rivals? Properties, capture specific window, come on. Am I going to have to restart stream? I might have to restart the stream. My OBS isn't picking up rivals. I mustn't have launched as admin. Let me try one more time. Properties. Otherwise find a window of the same executable. Capture any full screen application. Here you go. No good. Okay, give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. Hopefully this keeps all my metadata and doesn't start as a separate stream. Fingers crossed for just a little blackout in this stream. Let's see. All streams recording will be shut down. Yep. It looks like we've picked up where we left off. Maybe? Let's have a look. Is this still on the same stream? Live stream is offline. Uh-oh. Hey, tokens, thank you. I still haven't seen your latest YouTube upload, but I am meaning to watch it. Did this start as a separate stream? No? Doesn't look like it. Okay, cool. Doesn't look like it. Alright. Oh, except I may need to refresh the chat. Maybe. Oh no. It's still all there. Cool. Let's jump into it. We do not have a whole ton of time today, but we're going to see what we can achieve in this time. Namely, I would very much like to beat Nightmare 4 with Jeff. That is our goal. What's going on here? Let's just claim some stuff. Alright. Am I limited to the speed of... Am I going to get that skin late because I haven't been playing every day? Hopefully not. Anyways. Let's come across here. Nightmare 4. Do not autofill teammates. Let's jump straight into it. Let me remind myself of the game plan. Game plan for Jeff. We're going red build. We're taking all power surges.
You have one task, my fist.
All
Locate the
Moon Knight
Queen of the
protection.
Dead and end her. But the path
Surge. Okay, so the first thing that we need is going to be to get a red damage card of the gold variety. And we're just going to duplicate it a bunch of times. So Jetstream Cannon, I believe, is what we're looking for. Very good. We want a duplication. That is not a duplication. We go again. Can I exit? YouTube is not receiving something. Oh, it's not smooth. I don't know if there's anything I can do about that. Let me know if it's not feeling smooth and I can try and tweak some settings, but otherwise I'm going to assume that it's just complaining at me for the sake of complaining. If a human says it, absolutely, we'll do something about it. Until then, we go again.
You have one task, my fist. Locate the Queen of the Dead and end her. But the path
I feel like once all
will be
players have
fraught
locked, we
with
should be able to
peril.
skip this 20-second wait, but that's alright. Yeah, dropped frames due to the network. I don't think there's much I can do there. I'd love to take that damage received, but I have a plan and I'm sticking with it. No, I think that's really good. Gnashing Waters is really, really good versus common enemies. There's a chance. You're saying there's a chance. I think it's kind of trash, not gonna lie. We spent what, 45 on respins or on randoms, and we only got 3 Jetstream cannons. That's kind of garbage. It's gonna be a little RNG dependent. It's gonna take a little bit of time to get a run going, but the thing about Jeff is he's very easy. very easy in neutral, and we've got 1,000,000 of those revive tokens. So, should be a pretty chill time. Can't wait to eat my words on that one. Let's see, Jetstream Cannon Gold is all that I care about. Very good, and I would love to buy that Gnashing Vortis after I get some duplications. Okay, this is the run. Amazing. I don't even know if it's... It's just unbelievably good. Is it ideal for my DPS to take it again? I mean, most likely not, right? I'm greeting it. Refunds all moon power and grants 2... Oh, on this refresh. Okay. In that case... I mean, I guess I could have taken the left one as just kind of a nothing card. We always take Fire Rate. We always take these purple damage cards on Jeff. We don't need capacity because we reload so fast. Health could be nice. We don't really need it that much on Jeff, but it's nice to have the buffer. Ooh, you know, I haven't calculated it out, but I think Shark Sovereignty is good. There are better ways at this stage to increase our DPS than to be taking purple of rarity versions of the red upgrades.
Fight harder. You are of no use to me dead.
Alright, so we are going to completely decimate these opening rounds. Oh my goodness, that is so much damage. Okay, so we got such incredibly good luck that this may not be the most instructive run of all time. But it's good for me. Did you consider that? It's good for me. No, yeah, there's... I mean, this may be the best case scenario, but the moral of the story remains, and that is that you basically just need good luck. You don't need luck like this, I wouldn't imagine. But you need good luck at the start on your respins to get high damage just on your plain primary, so that you have what it takes to take out the Wanda boss before she explodes while she's doing a reality erasure. Oh, I could be looking for ults as well. It's going to be kind of difficult because the brutes can mess you up big time. This is my model. What's that guy doing? Now, why on earth would I take the extra size when I become easy to hit because of it? I know that Machu is a non-believer in the extra size, and honestly, I don't know what to make of it yet because I haven't had someone else online and able to help me run the calculations as to whether or not as to whether or not it's a good trade. So we are slightly easier to hit, yes, but also in general no one's going to be getting anywhere near us, so I'm not too worried about it. I think just another flat percentage bonus. It's 2 AM for me, but I finally got a stream. Hey, how's it going, man? I think just the flat bonus from the props of Shark Sovereignty, like, it's undeniable, right? Any percentage-based bonus that goes on top of other things are going to be better than diminishing returns in other regards. So as long as I'm not getting punished for my big hitbox, and frankly, Jeff being able to dive is just so blatantly overpowered. So 2 AM, what's kept you up? Holy stream delay. I don't know. I wasn't. So the thing about the zombies mode is it's really trial by fire with me starting doing some streaming with it, because I can't. I mean, on Jeff, to be fair, I can get away with it a lot more. But I'm really scared to look away from what's going on my screen because you die so quickly and easily in this mode. So I usually only check between rounds. But I think there is a bit of stream delay. I've got it on the lowest setting possible, but... Oh, it's only 5 seconds. Okay, cool. Yeah, as you saw just there, I'm locked in on trying to buy my upgrades. I'll try and be looking across as often as I can. Now, there is a method to the madness that you're seeing as I do these rerolls. I've got a document which I made by analyzing some data, telling me which abilities are and are not worth upgrading. So I'll come back to that again at the end. And then the idea is once we clear Jeff, I'm going to sort of do a walkthrough on stream of only 2 deaths on the Jeff run. From looking at the second monitor. No. I don't have much vampirism, which is a slightly scary thing. But the idea is, I'll come back at the end, I'm going to explain exactly what those methods that I was using were, and then we can just upload that VOD to YouTube, chop it down, and everyone can have a little guide to look back on. I was thinking of making some higher effort content around that, but given that it's a limited time mode, and frankly the sooner people get their hands on it, the more happy I think they're going to be about it. Man, our DPS is just nuts. I don't think you were here yet, Penguin, but we got incredibly good luck at the start of this run with our rerolls. So our damage is just... Oh, you did see it? I actually have gotten a strange mix of power-ups, though. I really haven't gotten much vampirism. I haven't gotten much in the way of... What's the other one that I want? Jeff's other gold card for his reds, the ones that are Deep Sea Reserve, I think? No, Deep Sea Reserve is his ammo, which I think is garbage because he reloads so fast. But the one that leaves the damaging field on the ground, I would really like more of that. Then again, we're breezing through these rounds so quickly that I guess it doesn't matter. I guess purple damage is where I really should be focusing my attention at this stage. Anything going on over here? Nah. It's a little embarrassing for the game at this stage. Gnashing Waters, that's what I was talking about. So you've beaten the Jeff Nightmare 4. Have you cleared the other hero? Wait. Oh, there's a massive delay as to when it actually shows up on the screen. I had to restart my stream because I launched OBS without administrator privileges, so it couldn't show me rivals. But I guess when I did that, it really added some sort of delay to my chat. I might need to lock him slightly here. Nope, never mind. Jeff is easy. So yeah, I'm seeing it way before it's showing up on my chat display. Fix that in a second. Life must prevail over death. I don't know what the odds are, but when I was doing resets last time I played, getting lucky and duping damage. Hopefully with all power you get. Oh, you just kept duping with all of your power. That's crazy. Yeah, that's... I have a feeling they... Wow, 2 hit. Okay. I have a feeling that, I really should be aiming for Deathless. But I've got respawns to burn. I would rather not. What was I saying? Totally lost my train of thought. And if one of them didn't hit dupe, then reset. Yeah, I feel like they changed the odds, because I agree. I was having a much easier time getting the resets quickly before that patch that came out. I feel like they may have stealth patched the odds on getting the duping of cards that you've already got. This hero is honestly overpowered. Like, this is easier than Blade on these rounds. Okay, we're on to Wanda already, so this will be where we figure out if the adjustments have worked. I can't imagine they wouldn't have worked. But yeah, I really don't think you need to hit all of your dupes. I think just like, by the time you've got, I got like 12 duplicates, which I think is more than I needed. Don't need capacity. What am I taking so long thinking about? I should have this down to a science by now. Less damage received is always good on every hero. Jeff is 100% the easiest character when using reset strat. Yeah, but he's nuts. To be fair, Blade also gets the range, and Jeff, you'll sort of get lulled into a false sense of security if you've got, like, moderate damage. I think where Jeff really thrives is once you've got enough health and damage reduction, the basic enemies, like if you've got your head on a swivel, which admittedly I kind of didn't, it's just like you're never gonna die because you dive underwater and nothing seems to be able to catch you. I don't need capacity, don't need 30 health, that's an insult, get it out of my face. But yeah, if, like, in terms of skill required, I would say Jeff is quite easy. You don't need much mechanical skill at all. You need a little bit on Blade to keep him down, I guess. No, you really don't need much on Blade either. But Jeff is Blade tier in terms of ease. I guess Blade you just need a little... like the tiniest bit more mechanical skill with your positioning in the early game. I think there are people behind me. Yeah, I think I've killed all of the regular enemies. That's hard to say if I've scaled enough down. If I haven't scaled, is the doc with the optimal stuff released yet? No, I will put it in, maybe I should put it in this stream description in a moment, but I will put it in the video description if it's not released sooner, but just for you I can put it in the video description after this run. That said, it needs to be taken with a grain of salt, because essentially what I've done is I've averaged it out over the entire run, just to see what the highest stats across all categories that you can get by the final Wanda fight are. But certain heroes, that's not the optimal strategy in my opinion. Okay, we lock in here. So for magic, for example, I feel like, I mean, Jeff's the most obvious one. Jeff, if you don't get your damage kick-started early, you're not going to clear the Wanda boss fight. And so you will take less health and less area damage at the interest of gaining more regular damage. Okay, that was much better. We just need to make sure we keep scaling our damage for the second and third sets of wonders. And it'll be happy days. How have you calculated it? So the data came from me just spinning a bunch of times and keeping track of everything I saw. So I got pretty good ideas of the odds of each card showing up, at least assuming it doesn't change over time, which it might, in all fairness. The methods aren't completely perfect, but it's a pretty good estimate, I think. Then what I'm doing is I'm basically just by hand going through and saying yes, no, to which cards I will and won't take, in just sort of a trial strategy. And then it will calculate, given that you get this much moon power over the course of a run, here's how many respins you'll get with that strategy, based on how much you're spending. That's my first moon power bonus. Based on how much you're spending on average. Basically, it figures out what your stats are going to be at the end of the game, given the known odds of cards showing up and the strategy that you tell it you're going to use. And so, as I adjust in real time, I say, okay, this strategy gets this much DPS. What if I change my mind before I said I'm not going to take the purple 8% damage bonus cards? What if I say I will take it? Does my DPS go up or down? And so I just manually tweaked those until I got a balance that looked right to my eyes. There's always going to be a compromise between the damage. Data from the game. So I actually I got a new keyboard specifically so that I could set up a macro to just get in a new game, re-roll a bunch of times, and then I was just screen recording and used some programs that I wrote to extract out which cards were showing up. So basically, I was just using law of large numbers. If I see 1,000 cards, or 10,000 cards, as was more the case, by respinning, then 5% of the time it was this damage boost that showed up. Then I know that that damage boost has a roughly 5% chance of showing up, and so I could work backwards from there and figure out roughly what the odds of each card were. And once I know the odds of each card and I know what each card does for me, I can figure out the expected value of what it does to my build if I decide I will or won't take it. Sorry if it's a little bit of a strange way of phrasing things. I'm trying not to die at the same time as explaining this. I'll do a better job of explaining it in a moment. Wow, it's still... Oh, I bet that that chat window's not updating because I've got it in the background or something. That's probably all it is. In between... Whoa! These guys gonna blow up on me? See, any other hero I would have died there. But Jeff, overpowered. I just got an achievement done. Was that for dealing... If that was for dealing damage, that's hilarious. So I'm not... Yeah, I can definitely explain it much better when I'm not in the middle of the run. It'll be easier with the visual aid. I'll bring up the spreadsheet and sort of try to tell you what it's doing. If you're still awake, and there's no pressure to stay awake because you've really died. If you got places to be in the morning, you should get to bed, man. Orders when I can. Let me see if I pull this up now. Bang. Okay, yeah, I just need to keep this window open. Hold on. If I Let it be in the background. No, can't even be. Oh, it can be in the. Cool. Cool. This isn't running in full screen, is it? Nah.
Do not succumb to the chaos.
Whoa! Okay, lock-in required. Oh man, that's what got me. Oh yeah, the more just sometimes randomly one-shots you, hey. Well, there's one death that's actually not just because of lapse in focus. I should be keeping more of a stock of what's going on behind me if the zombies are still spawning, which I think they're not. But that could have very well been a contributing factor to why I died. Maybe keep killing his squids too. Alright. The more should be a pushover now. Right now I'm trying to something some transcend. Something about 3D. I will read that as soon as I get the chance. Okay, that's not fair. There's nothing for me to shoot. No way for me to heal. I guess I'll go back there. I didn't die. That's what really matters. This little fight is cool, man. I've got to. I mean, I guess I don't have to do something about it because it's not going to be in the game for much longer. But I don't know how they managed to screw him up this bad. Come down to the ground yet, man? Thank you. Right now I'm trying to transcode some 3D movies and get them small enough to put on my VR headset. Sick. sure if this sort of flipping around that I do occasionally is required, but my thinking behind it is that it's buying me more time in several ways. Firstly, it's reducing the DPS that's incoming by killing off some of the squids, but also because I'm doing more damage to more targets with my damage over time. Yeah, the more buddies cooked. Okay, cool, it is still coming up on the stream. Very nice. But also because I'm doing more damage to more targets, I'm getting more self-healing as well, so particularly when I go to reload, the odds of getting bursted through my healing is significantly decreased. Where did you guys come from? I keep forgetting that there's a spawn that sometimes occurs behind me there. Does it only start after round 15 or something? It hadn't been an issue until now. Maybe it does. Alright, we just play a little more careful. Like, who else can do that? Who else could just casually swim through an entire horde of the fire zombies?
But can you repeat your success?
So, man, the difficulty of Jeff is purely scaling your damage to kill Wanda. But, like, that's a knowledge issue. Knowing what to take and what not to. Knowing that you have to do the respins at the start, probably. Yeah, you just get to play so sloppy on this hero. Things that would get punished on anyone else just don't.
Do not make me regret choosing you for this mission.
Didn't get hit by that or die. I feel like even on Jeff that could have easily killed to death. My live for free button. Fire rate, always. Purple damage, always. Gnashing waters, absolutely.
Life must prevail over death.
Is the doc for Jeff? It's for everyone. Yeah, so I've got separate pages. It's mainly copy and paste, but I had to obviously collect the data for everyone separately, which took a while, but seems to have paid off. Because I have pretty much blitzed through all of these nightmare modes. I mean, on average, it's probably taken me like 3-4 attempts per hero. So it's not like you've still got to play principled and don't take silly risks and have decent positioning and awareness. But just in terms of knowing that you're scaling as optimally as possible, and that you're not going to lose that damage race at the end of the run. Speaking of the end of the run, we're already there. Holy. Okay, I need to stop taking health. I don't need any more health. I don't think I need the Gnashing Waters again. I don't... Whenever it inflicts damage... Yeah, okay. Because I don't know if that stacks on the bosses. Or if it's main... or if since they're CC immune. they don't get hit with that extra effect. It kind of feels like they don't. I don't see the particles spawning around them. So I am actually going to take the purple ones here and try and take... Oh, I guess fire rates... maybe the department that we're lacking in the most. I'm not taking health now. I have enough health. Have I taken capacity? Acquired 3. I've taken capacity on several occasions. How embarrassing. Oh, I don't have enough of that damage. Can we get a 5 cost? Yeah, that's good enough. 1 cost? Guess I can't complain. W, I still need to clear half the heroes. Nice, well, I got you, man. I'm gonna hook you up with the goods. Okay, I want to be playing from over this side. Because that's where most of our... Okay, there are these things there. I did need just a little more health. I don't think so though. I think I just got really unlucky with the attack patterns. I need to see if I can somehow get these guys to desync their attacks a little. Okay. I am just going to reset this. I am just going to respawn through this. Because I want to have this done. But I'm going to make a note of the fact that more health can be required. Or damage reduction. Did I not get much... I guess I didn't get offered much damage reduction at all. What killed me? Oh, did I get... Okay. Smashing water is so satisfying on the alt crystals. Does it work on the alt crystals? I feel like it doesn't work on Wanda herself. I want to keep these guys like one cycle apart, if you know what I mean. Okay, so... yeah, more health. Ooh, dear. Oh, the gnashing waters must be working, because I wasn't shooting at. Okay. Oh dear. I really didn't want to use these guys, because I wanted to be able to focus on... just getting them both at the same time. Oh, that could be incredibly bad if done wrong. Okay. Took a couple deaths there. Probably shouldn't have. I think it was just because I didn't scale my health. I'll check on the bot afterwards what we were at in terms of damage reduction as well. Some of that may have come down to bad luck, some of that may have come down to bad form. I might have been taking... I feel like I was mostly taking the stuff I should have. If I got like a shockingly little amount of damage reduction, I'll... Alright. Cool. That's everything cleared. Let's do a little VOD review. See at the end of that what we were looking at in terms of that damage reduction, because I was getting absolutely toasted. I don't think that was... Is the price to performance better with damage reduction or health? You want to mix, because think of it like, if you take one, you're eventually going to get diminishing returns. It's very similar to when if you were to ask about the price to performance of the red damage boost cards to the purple damage boost cards. You would think that the red are just always better because they're bigger numbers for the same price, but the percentages multiply with one another. So the bigger your red damage is, the more valuable each percentage of purple becomes. And the more purple you've got, the more valuable each percentage of red becomes. And it actually ends up working out that you want to take more purple than red because of that imbalance. You get so much more red damage that the purple becomes way more valuable because it's multiplying a bigger number. And it's the same way in terms of the health and the damage reduction, I think. Now, in my notes, I said you don't even need to take 2.5% damage reduction ever. I don't think that's strictly true, because I think the more of them you buy, the less of them you see. That's how it feels, at least. Because based on my notes, it said you should get like 100% damage reduction if you follow this strategy through to the end. In practice, I wasn't getting even close to that. So they interact. Yes. So the damage is like base damage plus anything that you've got from this prepare page. So all this here, all of these flat damage boosts. Where is it? Yeah, so this damage boost from 9 up to 48. That whole 48 is going to then get multiplied. Actually, 48 is the boost, but it's going to get added onto your base damage, and then all of it is going to get multiplied by your purple power surge multiplier, and then all of that is going to get damage multiplied by your red on the hunt multiplier in the case of Blade. And then speed is essentially another multiplier on that, because if you're attacking twice as fast, that's twice as much DPS. So you want to balance out between all of these things in order to get the most damage per second that you can. And then Blade, there are less tangible things like range. How much range is the correct amount of range? I don't know. For me, it's largely the more the merrier. I tend to take every range card until I feel like I'm getting enough to kill people like consistently without feeling like I'm in any danger ever, and then I start only taking the 3-cost ones and not the 1-cost ones. But we'll get into all of that in a moment. I wanted to check something. Okay, wait, let me claim this. Thank you. Alright, I wanted to check how much damage reduction I was getting at the end there. What is it? G. Owned blessings. It's under the purple category. So, Vampiric Vitality. I had 4, which is a reasonable amount. I like 3 to 5 of those. Had some awful range luck on Blade, where I wasn't even... Yeah, it's... There's such a variance in the range that you can get. You can VOD review zombies. Yeah, you can watch the replays, and then if you hit your button to buy, that's how you can go in and see what power-ups you had at a given time. Quite handy for testing stuff, not necessarily in other cases, but it's good to know. Okay, so I had 9 of these Moonlight Protections. Okay, so I did have quite a lot of damage reduction. 15 and 45. I had, what, 60% damage reduction then? Yeah, 60% damage reduction seems like plenty, so I guess I just needed more HP. I started slowing down on the HP gains right before that last fight, and I think that was a mistake. Where do you go to VOD review? The same place you would for any other replay. So let me go back out to the main menu. I'm just waiting on myself hitting a button. So from here, you go to your profile, history, and then if you need to filter it out, you can filter by, where is it? Marvel Zombies. I always get SVP because I'm always playing solo. Nah, I carry the randoms too. Don't look at these two. Stats don't tell the full story. Yeah, it can be handy. If you want to know where you went wrong, if you did or didn't have enough of something, that can be a really nice way to check once you're already dead. Alright. The spreadsheet. Let me just pull up my screen, make sure I'm not doxing myself before I share it. Looks all good. So this is what I've been working with. I'm actually going to turn off my game volume as well. Let's just bring ourselves up to this screen for the sake of a moment's time. If I hit start recording so that I have this ready without having to download a VOD which has already been compressed when I want to upload this section to YouTube, let's just see what happens. If the stream ends or goes black, don't panic. I will notice and I will revert what I'm about to do, but I'm going to try and record this locally as we go as well. 3, 2, 1, go. Hi, YouTube. Alright. The different style of video. We are going to be talking about Nightmare 4. I didn't want to do a too overly edited format for this because, I mean, this is only a limited time mode, and also the less time I have to spend working on this, the less time you guys have to wait. So we're doing this after a live stream. I've just beat Jeff on Nightmare 4. He was the last hero I needed to beat. And I'm going to tell you how I did it and what I learned and how I would adapt going forwards. So there's a lot of sort of hearsay about what is good and what is bad and what you should and shouldn't buy. We're going to start off by talking a little bit about what you should and shouldn't buy on each hero, how you should be thinking throughout the run, and then some broad strokes strategy. You know what? Let's start with the broad strokes strategy in terms of how you're progressing in a run and how you need to be approaching different bosses. So throughout the first 5 rounds, I mean, it's slightly hero dependent, and we'll get into the specifics as we talk about each hero, but you're going to have 2 bosses. You know what? This is a bit intimidating. I'll hide this for the second. You're going to have 2 bosses. Now, these bosses are... what am I talking about? You're going to have 1 boss after the first 5 rounds. And so in those first 5 rounds, what you're trying to do is you're trying to scale to survive the Namor fight, and you're just trying not to take any dumb deaths. You've got a limited supply of these holy unks that you can respawn with, and really you shouldn't be using them in the first 5 rounds unless you've got just absolute excess of them to burn. Even still, I prefer not to use them in the early rounds on most heroes. Magic, maybe. Magic has a trouble in the early game and then really scales to be incredibly powerful the longer you go, so the early round deaths can be quite difficult to avoid. But in general, you really just want to be playing extra safe. Take the first 5 rounds slow. It doesn't matter. All that matters is that you get there in the end. Now, for the Namor fight, you've got to kill the squids to get him to come down out of the air. It's all fairly straightforward. I don't feel like any heroes really struggle particularly with the first Namor fight. Let me see. Blade has no problems. Punisher has no problems with the first one. Jeff, none at all. Thor... as long as you pace yourself. So everyone, as long as you pace yourself with the Namor fight, the thing is, he occasionally does big bursts of damage, and so as long as you've scaled your HP a little bit, and Thor I can't remember about magic. Thor definitely needs some early HP scaling. For the red build, which is going to be my recommended build, he really scales quite slowly. But I guess I said I wasn't going to go into specifics of the characters just yet. He starts with low health is what I meant to say. But the first Wanda fight is really just a damage race. So as long as you've got good technique, you really shouldn't be dying in the main phase of that first Wanda fight. Because her DPS is generally quite low, you shouldn't have too much trouble building up enough HP and damage reduction to be able to survive that fight. As long as you've been taking some amount of HP and damage reduction, which we're going to describe how to do that properly in just a moment, you should be just fine for that fight. All that really matters is that you're careful about not dying to third-party zombies. You do get some regular zombies still spawning in each boss fight, and being careful about them at the start of the boss fights is really the only way you should be dying in that Wanda boss fight, as long as you've got enough HP. Honestly, I think the following Namor Wanda boss fight is the most difficult boss fight of the entire run. Once you clear round 15 on most heroes, that is the great filter. That's what's going to decide whether you will or will not win the run. For that, you've just got to decide what is your run good at. And that's going to determine... I think the only hero where I decided to kill Namor first was Thor. Everyone else, Namor's not too much of a threat, and you can really just focus down Wanda. And kill her first, and then deal with Namor. Once Wanda's dead, Namor, he's just like the first round. The first boss fight once again. And then the double Wanda fight at the end. I mean, it's just... Again, it's another stat race. This one's a little harder to keep up with. If you haven't scaled your HP, you can die very quickly from her Doctor Strange team-up attack, especially if both of them do it at once. So you've got to be coming into this with enough HP, enough damage. The only person who struggles with the damage, I think, to win the damage race at the end is Jeff. Everyone else, you just need to have enough HP to survive, and you need to keep moving. That's the trick with Wanda. If you keep moving, she basically stands no chance against you. Unless she has enough damage to one-shot you. But she shouldn't. Alright. On to the specific hero matchups. Actually, you know what? I'm going to edit that in post because there's one more thing I wanted to say about the regular zombies, and this might even get moved to the start. Welcome in on my creative process. The recording process tends to be a little bit scatterbrained, and it all comes out in the wash when I go to edit. So, the regular zombies. Really, in Nightmare 4, you get punished for being unaware or taking unnecessary risks. So, the whole game plan in the regular rounds is going to be patient, to be in good space, and just to be really aware of what's going on. You do not want to have a spawn point to your back for any prolonged amount of time at all. You want to keep moving as much as possible on most of the heroes. Jeff can kind of just sit in the corner, and Punisher, it's really important to keep moving because he, more than anyone else, struggles to keep distance away from some of the faster zombies. But in general, if you've ever played Call of Duty Zombies, it's a really similar mindset that transfers over with how you're sort of moving around to try and control the movement of the horde, see them as a horde and not so much as the individual zombies. And then just respect the spacing. Every zombie type has the capacity to one-shot you if you do not respect them. So even the regular zombies, if you run right up in the middle of them, they will all hit you at once and you will die from full health, no matter how much health you've taken, no matter how much damage reduction you've taken, you can just get one shot immediately. So you need to know, and you'll get a feel for it the more you play, which is why I would say on your first couple runs, don't spend a single holy unk on a respawn, because you're going to die a bunch of times just as you get the feel for things and how your hero sort of interacts with the zombies. The exception to this, sort of, is the green plague zombies, or the toxic zombies, or whatever you want to call them. You can be as close to these guys as you like. They don't melee attack, but they are really, really important to keep on top of. These are your number one priority in terms of things you need to kill. You need to kill the plague zombies. Because if you stop moving, even if you're CC or damage immune or something, they will spawn... They will throw all of their grenades at you. They will all spawn the damage zones, and the damage zones stack. And if you are in stacked damage zones, it does not matter how much healing you have. It does not matter how much damage reduction you will have. You die immediately. So plague zombies, number one. Target, you need to make sure they are dead at all times. These are even in a boss fight, if there are plague zombies around, you drop what you're doing, you kill the plague zombies. Then the fire zombies, you really need to keep on top of them. They'll restrict your movement, and your movement is how you stay alive on most heroes. On Jeff, it's just... Jeff just stays alive. Jeff doesn't have a problem living. But everyone else, you really need to prioritize just being really aware of the fire zombies. They tend to spawn in really big hordes that will really easily one-shot you. Like, in the later rounds, I'm pretty sure one fire zombie can one-shot you if you're close enough to it when it explodes. And then those big elite zombies as well, the Sentinels, I believe they're called. They're kind of a mixed bag, because if when you're starting out Nightmare 4, these guys can and will one-shot you a ton, because basically every attack they do has the capability to one-shot. And you really have to respect giving them space. As you get more comfortable with how they move and how they attack, you'll start to realize that their attacks are really spread out. Once they attack once, they're not going to attack again for just a moment. You can really read their animations easily. And so you start to get an idea for when you can sort of close the distance and don't have to worry so much about them. But when they're in big groups, you can't read them all at once. But if there are a couple of isolated ones, the big Sentinels can be quite dangerous too. That is all in terms of the sort of broad stroke stuff. Let's talk individual matchups. So, what I have done is I have wasted a bunch of time making spreadsheets. So I've got all of the cards. I've taken stats for all of these. Actually, I was asked to put this into... I was asked to share this. Let me just share this into the chat. Oh, I need a green access. Hold on, let me do that without sharing what's going on. File, share with others. And you can be a viewer. All right. So, this document, what I've done is I've gone through and I have re-rolled the shop a bunch of times. How many did I end up doing? Not count, some. I did about 1,000 plus rerolls on each hero, and I counted up how often I saw each and every card. Don't worry, I did this with a script after doing the first one, so it didn't take me too many hours. But what this let me do is estimate with reasonable accuracy the odds of each card showing up. Interesting side note, grey doesn't mean common, or at least if it's supposed to mean common, it's not intuitive, because on average, your grey cards are less common than their blue counterparts, and sometimes your gold cards are less common or more common than their epic counterparts. There might even be one or two examples in here of the gold or legendary cards being more common than the common cards. I don't know if I can see any at a glance, but there's no correlation, or a very loose correlation, between the color of a card and how often it shows up in the shop. little bit of tidbit of random knowledge. But what I was able to do with this information was I was able to devise a strategy. And so there were some cards that I said you only want to take once or a handful of times. And other cards where I said you're going to take many of these. And all that is to say, I was able to plug in a strategy and spit out some numbers regarding how much HP I was expected to end up with, damage reduction. So this here, damage taken being at 36%, means I've got, 64% damage reduction all up. It's phrased that way just in case of some heroes have multiple stacking damage reduction effects. So that was the easier way to format it. We've got all of these stats that you're expected to end up with for the final boss fight. And so what I can do is I can say, okay, this strategy where I'm taking blue power surge, I'm expected to end up with a net damage of 200 or that's 2 million, isn't it? 2.5 million %. Am I reading that right? I'm feeling awfully, my eyes are not focusing for some reason. 256,000%. So what if I weren't to take the blue ones? My expected net damage goes down quite drastically. So let's not do that. But you will notice that that the HP slightly went up. So there's a bit of a balancing act. This isn't solved in the sense that I can say absolutely guaranteed this is the set of cards that you should take to maximize everything, because you might have different priorities. Maybe you decide that 10,000 HP isn't enough. It is. But if you decide you want more, I can't fault you. I don't know. This isn't a science. There's a little bit of an art form here. So I'm going to be recommending, I guess range is a better example. What's the correct amount of range? I don't know. Is ending up with an expected 900% increase in range enough? Is it too much? Should you take less range so that you can have more damage? Maybe. But I'm going to make some recommendations that served me well, and this will hopefully help you guys to beat Nightmare 4 as easily as is possible. So let's start with Blade. Blade is fairly straightforward. So on Blade, the game is simple. The game is increase your range so that you can kill everything all the time without putting yourself in any risk whatsoever. And at the same time, try to scale your damage, your DPS as much as possible. Other than that, there's really nothing complicated going on. You do want to take exactly one Sacrifice Sigil. That's the one which causes you to generate unks. So that just helps you with crowd control. It helps bring everyone together, which sort of helps you to just move around more easily, to deal your damage more easily, to have the flexibility to look around and check behind you so that you're always aware of what's going on. That's something very important to be doing on all of the heroes. But then, and Blade Dance. Oh, that reminds me. Okay, we'll get into this at the end. Blade Dance, I've said take 7. I don't know if it's even possible to get 7. I think it caps at 5. So let me just change that. Take a handful of Blade Dancers. It really does massively up your DPS, and that's surprising for a reason we're going to get into in a moment. But in terms of your general strategy, what should you take? You should take every bit of range you see. You should take every bit of speed you see, because speed is DPS. The faster you hit, the more DPS you've got, and that multiplies with your damage. And then you should also only be taking the purple and gold on the hunt. That's your red damage increase. Now, you don't want to take any of his lifesteal. He gets lifesteal by default. Increasing your damage increases your lifesteal because Blade's lifesteal is proportional to his damage. So the more damage you take, the more lifesteal you get. On Blade, you're going to be at 100% health 100% of the time, unless you get one shot. So lifesteal doesn't help. You already have plenty of it. And then you never want to upgrade your ult. You never want to ult because ulting makes you stand still, and movement is survival. If you stand still, you're going to die. And frankly, there are less ways to scale his ult. His ult scales slower. Even if you wanted to somehow build around his ult, I mean, maybe someone can make it happen, but I am just not convinced that an ult build could scale as fast. But really, you want to spec into one thing, and that one thing is going to be Blade's primary attack. So we're just going to do as much damage with our primary as is possible. And that's going to be enough. So I only take the golden health boosts. That's all you need. You're going to scale plenty with just that. What happens if you were to take some of the lesser ones? Like, you might end up with like 20% more health tops than you would otherwise. So why bother, right? 20% more health, and it's what? It's chopping... what is that? That's 6,000 out of 26,000. It's chopping like 20% off of your damage. Not worth it. Not worth it at all. So you're going to take only the golden health boosts. You're going to take everything but grey for your purple damage boosts. And I redact this. You're going to take all damage reduction because damage reduction is incredibly valuable. Incredibly valuable. That's just going to stop you from getting one shot. Now, that's pretty much it. So, I mean, something I forgot to mention before. Full moon. Full moon, extra moon power. Is it worth it? When is it worth it? People say you should only take extra moon power in the first 5 rounds, or some people will say 10 rounds. You should always take extra moon power. Always take full moon, unless it is literally the last round before the Wonder Boss fight. Do you know why? Because this gives you 10% extra moon power, and it costs 10. In the very last Wonder Boss fight, in the shop before that, you get 150 moon power. If you have full moon, that gives you 15 extra credits, but it costs 10. You are always going net positive. That's the worst case scenario. It only procs for that last shop. You are always going net positive if you buy moon power, so you should always buy it. On every single hero. Vampiric Vitality, the lifesteal, important on every hero except for Blade. Blade doesn't need it, as I said before. But Full Moon, every hero wants this whenever it shows up, unless you are literally never going to have another shop. Alright, back to Blade. So yeah, your game plan is simple. In terms of damage, you're taking only the purple and gold, and in fact, if you go for that that strategy at the start of your run, you know how you've seen some people at the start of their run, they're going to look for specifically this 100% extra sword damage, and then they're going to buy only that, and they're going to take a random power up, and they're going to hope that it duplicates that card a bunch of times. That can be good. That's borderline necessary for clearing Nightmare 4 on some of the heroes. On Blade, you don't have to do it, but if you do, don't even bother buying this purple damage boost, or this purple rarity of the On the Hunt. This no longer becomes worth it. When you get the head start on the gold cards, you no longer need these purple ones. I know this is getting crazy complicated, so I'm going to sort of simplify all of this at the end, but we're just going to discuss this in detail for a moment, and then at the end of discussing each hero, we'll sort of give you just the really simple follow this plan. There was one more thing I wanted to mention before finishing up with Blade, which is that his dash, his Daywalker dash, where you do the spins, really good. You will have probably noticed that that does more DPS than your regular sword. And what's crazy is that that is not affected by this On the Hunt power-up. It's not his sword, it's his dash. It is affected by these Fatal Flash power-ups. So, if you are just trying to clear it at all costs, you just want the simplest version of the run that you can have, don't even worry about these. Don't take these. Not going to be worth your time. Just don't do too much dashing around. Use it as a movement tool to get out of danger. Don't use it for damage. You don't need it. You can clear the Wander damage race without ever dashing. Blade does so much damage. If your only goal is to win a run at any costs and keep it as simple as possible, ba-boom, don't need this. You only need to use your regular primary attack and get your gold, maybe purple on the hunts. But if you're speedrunning, these are massive percentage bonuses to your Daywalker dash. Massive percentage bonuses. And even without them, if you've gotten to the run, to the end of your run, and haven't bought Fatal Flash even once, and you're using this and you're realizing that this does more DPS to Wander in that damage race, guess what? If you bought one of these, you would kill her 7 times faster. Immediately. So if you're speed running, buy a couple of these golden Fatal Flashes. Maybe even buy some of the purple ones. I haven't gone through and calculated it because I'm sort of marketing this towards people who just want to know, how do I win a run? I can't win the regular runs. If you're speed running, this tool's here for you to play with. You can mess around with it. But if you just want to win, don't worry about this stuff. You're just going to use the primary. So what is the game plan for Blade if all you care about is winning? You're going to get into a run. You're going to buy every single moon power you see. You're going to buy exactly one of these unks. Every single moon power. You're going to buy every single range upgrade you see, every single speed upgrade you see. You're going to buy purple and gold rarity on the hunt. That's your primary increase. Buy a couple of these blade dancers, maybe. Honestly, no. Don't buy these blade dancers. If you are not quite comfortable with how to deal with the positioning and the spacing, and you feel like you're dying a lot, if you just want to beat this at all costs, don't worry about using your dash. Your dash is an escape tool. So I take that back. Don't buy Blade Dance at all. Buy golden health upgrades. If you feel like you're not getting towards that 10,000 health mark by the end of the run, then maybe you want to throw a couple of purple health upgrades in there. That's fine. You're going to buy every purple damage boost, all of these power surges, except for the grey ones. Those 2.5%, not worth it. And you're going to buy every damage reduction. When we upload this to YouTube, I'll try and edit this onto the screen so that you can sort of see what I'm talking about, because there's a little bit going on. There's a fair few moving parts with this, but that's all there really is for Blade. One moment. Thought someone was knocking, but they're not. That's all there is for Blade. Let's move on. Punisher. Now, Punisher, let me try and remember. He is quite straightforward in the early game, and then as the game progresses, he starts to struggle. So really, if you're not comfortable with the spacing, Punisher is not a good starting point. If you're not comfortable with spacing and you want to learn, you should do it on Blade, and maybe Magic. To an extent, Thor. Yeah, I would say Blade has the easier spacing. Jeff is so easy with the spacing. He plays differently to everyone else that you're actually not going to learn anything valuable about spacing from playing Jeff. But if you are dying a lot and feel like you just can never get out of the way of harm, Punisher's not the place to start. He's one of the ones you should leave towards the end as you get more comfortable with it. But you really need to use his zip lines well, his smoke bombs well, to keep yourself out of danger. You've really got to keep your head on a swivel and know where everything is at all times. Punisher is not easy as you get into the later rounds. But he's really good into the bosses. Really, really good into the bosses. He kills them so fast. He just struggles with the big waves where the other heroes tend not to so much. Thor does a little bit as well, but Punisher mostly. Now, what should you take with Punisher? Punisher, I think, was also quite straightforward. One thing that these spreadsheets do not account for is sort of the curve of the scaling. So I think with Punisher, you actually don't want to be playing for the late game at the very start of the run. At the start of the run, you have some pretty serious concerns that need to be addressed right away, which is you need to get lots of red cards. You can get by without them, without the upgrades that they provide, but it's going to make the rounds go a lot slower. It's going to make you want to take more risks, and you're going to die fairly easily if you don't have the massive damage that comes from that. So in general, while I've said that you want to only take the gold and purple Punisher's upgrades, I would take some blues to begin with. Just at the very start of your run, while you're trying to get up to 120 units spent on the red cards so that you get all of his upgrades. Then, I mean, Punisher the game is essentially, you're never going to have to reload. Once you've got his build up and running, Punisher basically never reloads. And so anything that has to do with increased magazine capacity or faster reload time, you can buy the faster reload time one. You're probably going to see it before you've gotten that 120, which allows you to get his level 3 upgrade. Let me check what that is again. Khonshu's Blessings. What was I saying? I was talking about, does it say here what his abilities are? I guess it doesn't matter. But I want to know.
Yeah, on the back you just like put the seatbelt through. There are two little loops.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Okay. So yeah, you can take rapid reload because it might save you in a pickle. In fact, let's just say we are going to take it. If you are shooting something which isn't refunding those bullets, it can help you out, and you only ever need to take one of them. I think the game only ever offers you one. What is quite interesting is, where is it? This overwhelming assault is broken. Let me remind you, that gradual speed increase. Where are we? Overwhelming assault. Sustained fire with adjudication gradually increases its rate of fire up to a limit. Stacking this effect further raises the maximum rate. This ability is broken. It does not work how it says. In fact, it does nothing until you've bought a whole bunch of them. Once you've bought a whole bunch of them, I don't know how many, I could not be bothered to test because I knew that they weren't worth it. But once you've bought like somewhere in the ballpark of 10 of these things, then you start seeing some fire rate increase. But you can buy like 5 of these at least, and nothing changes. So this is a complete and utter waste of your moon power. Never buy these. Never ever buy these. Do not need them. Whoops. What am I doing here? All right. So with that sorted, what do you take then? So, as I said, extra magazine, not worth it. You're never going to have to reload anyways, and if you get this rapid reload, you reload quickly enough in the very few circumstances that you do have to reload. It's just not worth taking the extra magazine size, unless you're like really, really struggling to get your 120 to get to your level 3 ability. But the simple rules for Punisher, once again, you only buy this the golden health boost unless you really see post through. See you, man. Have a good night or sleep well. Yeah, you only buy this golden health boost unless you are getting towards the end of your run and your health isn't approaching that probably 8 to 10,000 mark is where most of the heroes want to be. Punisher especially so, because he takes some extra hits because he's slow. Once again, you want to take all of your power surges except for the grey ones. You want to take all damage reduction, and you will take all of the moon power bonuses, as you will on all of the heroes. And you're going to take a bit of lifesteal. I've said 1 here. You can probably aim for about 3. If you feel like your health, like start at 2 or 3, and if you feel like your health isn't catching up to full really quickly every time you take damage, which it should be at 2 or 3, then maybe you'll want to take 1 or 2 more. But really, anything beyond 3 of these is really quite unnecessary, I think. But I've been known to take them just because they're shiny, and my brain goes shiny, must have. Then once again, similar idea with the Punisher's upgrade. You want to only take your purple and gold of those to increase your base DPS. This critical hit multiplier, that's your headshot multiplier, very, very valuable. You want to take every single one of these that you see because it's going to skyrocket your damage. Rapid reload, you'll only get off it at once. May as well take it. It's going to help you get to that 120 red faster. Same deal for Smart Magazine, except in this case, Smart Magazine is actually central to your run. This is what's going to make you never have to reload again. So the sooner you get this, the better. Now, Deadly Lock-On, you only need 1. And that's going to be good enough to make it so that between that and Smart Magazine, you are never going to have to reload, and you're going to be hitting heads like really, really consistently. That said, you can, and I did, take more of these. You can take a couple of these +1 seconds, but especially the +2 seconds. What's nice about this is it's not going to help you necessarily kill things radically faster, but the more of this you have, the less room for error there is if you're not hitting heads for a while. And really, what's really nice about it is while this tracking is enabled, you get to look around. You get to check over your shoulders because you're going to be hitting heads regardless. You don't have to aim. You know that whatever you were shooting at is going to continue to die. So that's what's really nice about this. So this is a nice to have, not a must have. If you feel like you actually cannot output the damage that you need at the moment, then it's totally fine to skip these as long as you've got 1 of them. But if you're scaling quite nicely, then you can take a couple of these. You can take a lot of these if you want to. This is something where it's like, if you're already running downhill, this is going to let you do it that much easier. We don't need anything from the blue when you're playing Punisher. That said, no matter how well you're doing, Punisher, you have to be locked in the entire run. You have to be running circuits to make sure that you're not getting killed, because the zombies are quicker than you. Frankly, if you're not using your speed bonus from Punisher's utility and using the smoke grenades to create distance when you're starting to get overwhelmed, then you're going to get in trouble no matter how much DPS you're putting out. But in terms of putting out the most DPS possible, this is how you do it. Punisher, in my opinion, may be the hardest hero. Jeff is the easiest hero, in my opinion, if you're coming in with no experience. If you're good enough at sort of keeping your space, Blade is easier. But Jeff just lives for free. Jeff, if you dive under the water, you can survive things that no other heroes can survive. It is so incredibly easy to survive as Jeff. And since his attack is equally good from all range from the very beginning of the run, you just never have to put yourself in harm's way. The thing is with Jeff is his damage, his single target damage is really bad. And so you need to scale it really fast in order to beat the Wonder Boss fight. In fact, I had this sort of plan that I've got laid out here for how to get as much DPS as is possible. This looks slightly wrong. Maybe I've done... Oh, wait. Here we go. Net damage. Yeah, okay. For how to get as much DPS as possible, this looks like a lot. It's what, 7 million% increase? Guess what? Not enough. You will lose the first Wonder Boss fight if you are not very intentional about scaling your damage, because when she goes into reality erasure, she'll just kill you. You won't be able to keep up. You're not going to be able to kill her out of her reality erasure fast enough if you are not really precise about how you scale your damage. So that thing that other heroes can do optionally to scale their damage, where at the start of their run you reset until you get a specific card and duplicate it. As far as I can tell, Jeff basically has to do that if you want to have a good chance at winning the run. And if you do that, easiest hero in the game. There's just a little bit of startup time. So your plan is going to be you take Jetstream Cannon. It's the first thing you take. You're just going to re-roll until you see a gold Jetstream Cannon. You're going to take that, and then you're going to do your random spins. And you need to duplicate this at least once, preferably twice. And by that I don't mean just like one or two of the duplicates. I mean like once or twice of getting multiple duplicates of this card put into your deck. If you don't get that as your first couple of rolls, then you just need to reset and try again, because otherwise you are not going to have enough damage when you get to the first Wonder Boss fight. If you do get that, congratulations, you just won the run. Try your best not to do anything exceedingly stupid and lose it. Because the plan for Jeff is so incredibly straightforward. You only take Golden Jetstream Cannon, you take Golden Gnashing Water, so you take both of his gold rarity red cards, you take Speed Increase in any form that you see it, you take... I've got 5 here, that's too much. You take probably 3 of these life steals. I mean, you can take 3 to 5. Maybe as few as 2 if you're keeping up all right, but who knows. You take as many moon powers as you see, as always. You take every single power surge that you see. Maybe even the 2.5. You don't have to take the 2.5, I don't think. But this one, I would say you kind of can get away with it. That there says it's actually decreasing my net expected damage. So maybe don't take the grey ones. Take gold health. You can take some purple health, but be really careful. I wouldn't take it until you've beat the first Wonder Boss fight. Because you just need to be getting as much damage as you can, and the more health you take, the less damage you're doing. You do need to come into the very last boss fight with a fair bit of HP. On my run, I came in with about 6,000 to 7,000 HP, and it wasn't enough. I had to use a few respawns, just because I was getting really quickly killed, and there was basically nothing I can do about it. With the double Wonder Boss fight, they can one-shot you. Too bad, so sad. What can you do? You can have more health, is all you can do. So either be prepared to spend a couple of respawns in the final Wonder Boss fight, or else you're going to want to aim for 8 to 9,000 health, probably. 10,000 and you're sitting pretty. 10,000 and you've won, as long as you've got the damage. But yeah, those rerolls at the start to get Jetstream Cannon and to duplicate that, that's going to be your best bet. And once you've done that, you're just going to play at a really safe distance the entire run. You're just going to keep your head on a super swivel, be super paranoid, constantly be turning around. If you feel like you're getting overwhelmed, go underwater. You can swim right by an entire horde, they're barely going to touch you. And then swim past them, turn around, kill everything. If you can't kill everything in time and they're closing in on you, go underwater again, swim past them again, do it again. Jeff basically cannot be killed outside of getting one shot in boss fights, if you've got some awareness. So Jeff, really, really beginner friendly. As long as you know how to scale your damage for the Wonder fights, this is the mechanically easiest of the heroes by far. Thor is very similar to Punisher. Thor is pretty easy in the early game, and then he gets more difficult as the game goes on. So it's not quite as important on Thor that you scale into your upgrades, your red tree upgrades. Oh, sorry, I say red tree. Thor is the one hero who is going to take his blue tree instead. Where was... I think that's the color of blue I used. Yeah, so Thor's going to take his blue tree. He's the only hero where I think that is better. I mean, you see for some of the higher level players, they're taking their red tree, and as they dash around, they're doing crazy amounts of damage. The problem is it's just so difficult to get him off the ground. Now I'm remembering, yeah, it's not important to get a bunch of red cards to get his red ability tree unlocked, because when you take his blue tree, you'll notice that for Thor specifically, he only gets that 977 health boost as opposed to like 1,000 more in his other tree. So Thor gets a lot less health when you take his blue tree, but he gets a lot more damage, or easy damage at least. It's a lot more beginner friendly to the early game, and a lot more consistent, I think. So you don't need to go for any sort of reset strategy where you're trying to duplicate any cards a bunch of times. But what you are going to do is you're probably going to take a lot of these purple health boosts. And as you get later into the run, you can revert back to only taking the gold ones if your health is scaling fast enough. But in general, just getting more health for Thor is going to be really important, because otherwise you're going to get one-shot by a bunch of things that aren't one-shotting Blade or aren't one-shotting Magic, and it's going to be a really frustrating experience. So yeah, you just need to scale your health early. That's really your chief concern. So I would be sort of not taking this blue power surge in the early game, and not taking necessarily these lower level damage boosts in your blue tree either. That's only in the early game while you're really trying to scale your health and damage reduction. And then as you start getting more comfortable on your health, you're going to start going back into this default strategy that I've got listed here. So, 2 power prolongation. Why did I say that? Who knows? So for Thor, in terms of his blue abilities, Endstorm and Rune Recycle, these are the things that you really want to get right out of the gate. You only need each of them once. I'm pretty sure Rune Recycle, even though it's available at 2 rarities, once you buy the gold one, it's never going to offer it to you again. So you only need to buy this once. So you buy Endstorm once, you buy Rune Recycle once, you get these the first time you see them. Don't even worry about that. The other thing, Cranium Crusher, increasing your headshot multiplier, absolutely, absolutely vital. This is something you will take every single time you see, even in the early game, because it scales so fast. So incredibly powerful. Thunder Havoc, I'm totally forgetting what it does. Let me see. Thunder Havoc is extra size and therefore extra explosion damage as well. Thunder Havoc, not as important to get in the early game. It's still nice to have. You're going to take these when you see them, but maybe you're going to slow down on them in the early game. Now, Allfather's Might, you're actually going to take at every rarity, at least in the late game, once you've got your survivability online. Enchanted Flurry, you take at every rarity. Power Prolongation, I just don't think you need, because you take a couple of the legendary ones. They really only help you in boss fights. But the trick for boss fights on Thor is, wow, I nearly forgot to say this. Important. Thor, I was struggling in the boss fights. I was finding that when I sort of cycled my cooldowns in the boss fights, when Rune Awakening ended and I needed to start it up again, you're really vulnerable to getting one-shot by a boss because you don't have the damage, therefore you don't have the lifesteal, therefore you die. So, the trick is to never have to cycle through the rune recycling. How do you do that? Do you take a bunch of power prolongation? No. You don't need any power prolongation, really. Take a couple legendary ones. But the trick is stop using your right click, which fires off rapid fire, and start using your left click instead. Just your regular throws. It's slightly lower DPS, but your right click consumes the duration really, really quickly. Your left click does not. So with just a couple of power prolongations, you'll have several minutes in Rune Awakening without ever having to cycle it. And so that'll get you through the whole boss fight without a vulnerable moment. So yeah, left click in the boss fights. That's a really handy trick on Thor, and that was the revelation that helped me to win. Other than that, you're taking health early. Once you get your health online, you don't need to take these purple ones, but to begin with, you're going to take both purple and gold, and then later on, you're just going to take gold. Power Surge, once again, take them all except for common. Moonlight Protection, you're going to take all of this. You always take damage reduction. And then Lifesteal, once again, you want about 3 of these. You want every full moon that you see. And you just want all of your blue damage, all of your Enchanted Flurry. I believe Enchanted Flurry is speed, right? Yeah, so speed, excellent. Thunder Havoc, Cranium Crusher. Take as many of these as you can. Only a few power prolongation. And Rune Recycle and Endstorm, I mean, they're your bread and butter. You take them as early as you see them, but early game you're trying to get your health online, and then you're worrying about scaling damage. Thor is quite unique in that case. That's pretty much all there is to say for Thor. Magic, last one. Magic is the anti-Punisher, the anti-Thor. Magic struggles in the early game, really struggles to get online, way more than Blade. Blade is the similar direction, but Magic is to the extreme. She struggles in the early game, and then once you get her online, she's completely overpowered. So, for Magic, you're really going to prioritize your damage and getting that online. And you've got to play super, super safe in those first 5 rounds. It's going to feel like a slog. You're really going to want to dive in and just get that kill a little bit quicker in those first few rounds. Don't do it. Slow it down. It's going to be fine. You're going to get to go fast. Just live the first 5 rounds, and then things will start to pick up. So, I mean, there's really not too much to say for magic. For the boss fights, particularly when Namor is alive, Namor can be dangerous to a lot of people, but for magic, you're just going to be using stepping stones to get around quite a lot. And once again, other than that, she's got plenty of range. You barely need to upgrade it, but we're still going to upgrade it a little bit. Not as necessary as for Blade, because she gets so much to begin with. But other than that, our goal for magic is just going to be to increase her base DPS and her survivability. And the way that we do that, magic's survivability is really rough because she doesn't get any lifesteal by default. So you really need to get some of these vampiric vitalities. I've said 3 like all the others. Since she doesn't have the base lifesteal, you can go a little bit more. I wouldn't take more than 5, but you might find that 3 is not cutting it. It probably will. But if you are prone to taking a little bit more damage, you might need to take some more of these. Full Moon, take as many as possible, as is the case for everyone. Once again, we're taking all of the power surges except for the grey ones. Gold health only. Her problem's not base health, it's regenerating health. But still, damage reduction, very, very nice. But really, it mainly comes down to her red abilities. That's where things get somewhat interesting. Her soul domain, what is her soul domain again? I want to be able to comment on why we're taking these things. Soul domain is attack range. Yeah, so soul domain, attack range, we don't need to take the grey ones. A lot of heroes, we say you take every range for magic. It's perfectly fine to only take these blue rarity ones, because you get so much range anyways. She really just doesn't need the range increase. Then for Sword Dance, this is her damage, I believe. Let me check. Arcane Sword Dance, yeah, just... Oh, this is her speed. Alright, Arcane Sword Dance is her speed. She's got this at 3 different levels, whereas Blade only has grey and blue. She's also got purple, so for her, that purple is enough of a difference maker that you don't have to take the grey. So basically, never take a grey ability on magic. None of her grey, red one. Is it grey in general? Yeah, never take a grey ability on magic. Never take any of her commons. There's always something better at a higher rarity, which is going to scale more quickly. The grey ones are actually going to slow you down. Now, you don't need arcane armor. Why do I say you don't need arcane armor? Let me remind myself of what it is. Oh, the conversion into bonus health. Vampiric Vitality is just better. So Vampiric Vitality, converting it into regular health instead of bonus health, just stronger. And again, you're going to be at 100% health at all times once you scale enough. So I just don't think you need this. Innate Slash, this is your damage, isn't it? 35%, 85%, they look like damage numbers. Yes. Innate Slash. Your base damage on your sword. These ones you're only going to take the purple and the gold. I mean, it's really good. This is where the good chunk of your damage will come from, for most of the run at least. Devouring Sigil, similarly, super, super good. This spawns those ranged attacks. What are they called? Oh no, this helps you do more damage to marked targets and have more damage reduction against them. So more damage reduction, as we've said, is always good. So you always want that damage reduction. This is going to help you get it, because basically everyone's going to be marked all of the time, because you've got so much range that you're hitting everyone and marking them all of the time. In my opinion, Mark Detonation, it's a separate source of damage which doesn't scale with your Devouring Sigil / Innate Slash. Maybe it does with the Devouring Sigil, but not with the Innate Slash, I don't think. And so I don't think that this is worth it. Not for someone who's just trying to take the simplest route to winning, at least. Soul Surge, you should take every one of these you see. This is what spawns attacks at range, right? Yes, this Demonic Soul Sword attack, really, really good. This is what's going to let you mow things down from a distance. So, you know, this just radically improves your damage and crowd control. So, the plan overall for Magic, very similar in the purple department to everyone else. You want to take your gold vitality boost. You want to take all of your power surges except for grey. You want to take all damage reduction. And you want to take a couple of vampiric vitalities between 3 and 5. And you want to take every single full moon that you see. Now, you might want to take a few of those purple health boosts in the early game. Probably not too many, because what really, really matters is that you get vampiric vitality early. If you don't get this early, you have to play really, really safe. If you don't get it at all, you may as well reset, because you're not going to be recovering health. So they're your purple cards. For the red cards, as I said, never take a grey card. But other than that, we want attack speed, we want range, we want your purple and gold innate slash, just your primary damage, every devouring sigil, that's for the marks, every single one that you see, and every single soul surge that you see. And then we're just going to play it really safe. We're going to teleport around a fair bit. And that's going to be that. I realize I didn't say what abilities we're taking. So let me quickly brush up on that now. Where am I clicking? I'm lost. In terms of the ability tree, so for Punisher, this Relentless Pursuit turret, the green turret is a must, because you never really want to set up shop with your orange turret. This thing is just going to help you get some chip damage in the early rounds. In the later rounds, it's going to get destroyed the second you place it, so it kind of becomes useless. But in the early rounds, you can place this sort of on top of the bus near where the zombies tend to spawn early, and that's just going to help you get some chip damage. Or you can sort of place it near yourself to pull aggro away from yourself. The zombies tend to target the turret before they target you. So if you're in a pickle, you can place down the turret and get away that way. I prefer the orange zipline because of the speed boost. In the later rounds, you are constantly getting run down by so many zombies who are faster than you. And so having some zip lines set up with this orange ability to get yourself extra speed is really, really valuable to being able to outpace them and just keep your distance. So important, in my opinion. Alt doesn't matter. Take Grey for all I care. Never alt on Punisher. His alt does not scale with any of his abilities. It has damage reduction, but who cares, right? Because you're sacrificing the damage, and the damage is the vampirism. The vampirism keeps you alive. So since the alt doesn't scale with anything and it slows you right down, it's just kind of asking to die. If you have luck with it, power to you. I just don't think it matters. I don't think you should use this a single time throughout the entire course of a run. And then we're going to be building into his red tree. Take everything in his red tree. At the end of either tree, you get a bigger health bonus. And so it's quite important that you spec fully into one tree over the other. Magic. The Darkchild build simply doesn't have the single target damage for her to be able to win that damage race at the end. Nonetheless, I mean, it takes extra skill to pilot the run. And this is sort of, I'm targeting this at what is the simplest approach that the average player can take to have really high probability of clearing a Nightmare 4 run. And the best method for that, in my opinion, and in most people's opinion that I've seen, is going to be this red route where you don't use your ult. And so for the ults, we're going to be taking this version. The ult, which one you take, doesn't matter at all, because here we're going to take the one which says that your ultimate ability cannot be used, but you get permanent boosts to health and damage. So since we're not building around our ults, this is kind of a no-brainer. As I said, obviously doesn't... Oh wait, this is stepping discs, not your ult. They changed the order for magic, that's why I'm getting confused. We're building into a red tree, as I said. And then for the dash, I like her limbo step, the green one, because it doesn't get stuck on enemies. This one grabs collided enemies and carries them to the end point. This one dashes straight through them. So with this one, if you're sort of cornered and there's a lot of people on you, you can dash through them and leave them behind you. You don't want to take the fire zombies with you. You don't want to take the elite zombies with you. If you take them with you, congratulations, you now have a bunch of zombies in front of you and they're going to one-shot you. So this is better because it's just a survival and movement tool. You're not really going to be using this for damage because it doesn't scale. Stepping discs. I don't think this one so much matters. I'm sure this one's fine. In fact, maybe this one's more beginner friendly. Probably. The reason I went for Demonic Barrier was because it was recommended to me by someone who does play Magic more, but I have a feeling that this one's more geared towards players who are sort of comfortable at the higher level. This one's definitely easier to pilot, so maybe this is what you should go with, because it's just more high damage over a wider area. The utility of the Demonic Barrier, making your demon better, is much like the Punisher turret. It's something that you can drop to pull aggro away from yourself, and so the more health that has, the longer that it's going to give you to escape. So pick whichever feels better to you. It's not central to the build. That does it for Magic's build. Thor. Thor is the only hero who I recommend building into his blue tree. That does mean a lot less health compared to the red one. Now, in terms of his abilities, I don't think they matter too much. Really, you're going to be in Rune Awakening basically 100% of the time. So the reason I took his green Thunderous Slam here was because, why was it? I guess the utility of his Hammer Throw is just to give you back the Thor Force to get back into Rune Awakening more quickly if you accidentally use his Thor Force on something else. And so the easier this is to land, the better. This does more damage, but you're not relying on this for damage. So I think it's kind of much of a muchness. Doesn't matter what you take here. This one, I very much recommend this Concussion Cell. Stunning enemies in range right away can be quite handy. If you're getting overwhelmed, this is a nice way to deal with it. Bear in mind, the Sentinel zombies, the big ones, are CC immune, so this won't affect them, but they're slower in the first place. So Thor, much like Punisher, is not as fast as some of the fastest zombies. So this just provides you a way to sort of keep your distance from them, especially if you have to cycle in and out of Rune Awakening. Then this can be a nice thing to do in between while you're sort of waiting for it to refresh, to just buy yourself a little bit more time from those really quick zombies. Thor's ult, this one that knocks them up, is a whole lot better in my opinion. The reason you use his ult is if you're in trouble, if there are a lot of zombies either surrounding you and you need to get out, or there's a bunch of the green zombies and they're throwing their grenades and creating area of effect damage faster than you can deal with. You can knock them all down at once using your ult, and that's a decent way of dealing with them. It is quite dangerous if there are still some of those sentinels On the field, though, because they're CC immune, they're just going to chill out during your ult. And if you land next to them, they're all going to attack you as you land and you're going to die. So you've got to be careful not to land near the sentinels, which can mean just timing it right. Like if you're right next to a bunch of the sentinels, you might be dissuaded from doing this. And while you're ulting, you very much want to be aware of where they're left on the ground so that when you drop down, you're not right next to them. So his ult is probably one of the more important, probably the most important out of any hero in this game mode. Blade. Blade's abilities basically do not matter. Which ones you spec into. You spec into the red tree, of course. Everyone's doing red tree. There might even be some potential in the blue tree. He's just that good, but no one has bothered really looking there that I know of. At least it hasn't gained nearly as much traction, because red tree is just so incredibly consistent and easy. So you're not going to be doing Daywalker Dash with your gun out, because you never want to pull your gun out. You want to be with your sword out in your Vampire Lifesteal mode 100% of the time. So it does not matter what you take here. It does not matter what you take here either, because both of these are while you're wielding your gun. Oh, this one's... Okay, this is Daywalker. Both of these abilities for when your gun is out. So, straight up, doesn't matter. Do whatever you want with those. This one, if you're going to ult, you may as well do it at the start of the rounds, just to stack up a little bit more damage. But really, his ult is so bad. Like, we're not upgrading our ult. We technically could scale it, but it's a waste of time, because it's so much worse than just using your primary. If you're going to pick one, pick Luna off, because the Hands of Khonshu do a whole ton of damage, at least in the early game. They get outscaled very quickly. In anything but Nightmare 4, this is a little bit better, but frankly, you can quite easily get through an entire run without ulting a single time as Blade. His ult just isn't necessary. Jeff, last one. Maybe I shouldn't say that, because I'm going to edit these in front of me talking about each hero, maybe. But Jeff's abilities, I didn't take much of a liking to using his bubbles. I know there are some mechanics there, but as I understand it, these do not have to do with sort of the tree I was speccing into. And so I just kind of ignored the bubbles. I left it on default, which is directly worse than putting it on either of these. But I didn't want to accidentally make my bubbles merge if I ever did want them on the field, which honestly, I think I got through my entire run without placing a single bubble. You probably should place your bubbles to heal yourself right before you dive under the water when you're trying to escape enemies. And maybe that would have saved me one death in my run. But that aspect of the bubble is not improved by either of these. So frankly, if something in here appeals to you, knock yourself out. But otherwise, I'm not too stressed about the bubble upgrades. His Aqua Burst ability, this is his right click, which is his little stun bubble that he shoots. My preference, because I'm using this quite infrequently anyways, is to take this one which uses all of his charges at once for a bigger explosion, and to stun. The stun is kind of nice, because what I would do is, if I was swimming away from enemies, and they were some of the faster ones who were sort of keeping up with me as I swim away, and I'm not sure if I resurface that I'm going to be safe to just turn around and shoot them, I'm worried that they're going to start hitting me back. Well, instead what I'll do is, as soon as I come out of my swim, I will shoot them with this Hydro Grenade, and they will get stunned, and that will buy me the time that I need to quite comfortably kill them. So that's why I've picked this one. As for his ult, I mean, I don't think this matters too much. You're not swimming around too much. And spit out swallowed enemies up to 3 waves. I never even tried this. I don't know how it works. I only ult a handful of times in the Jeff build. Oh no, I didn't talk about his ult when I was talking about him. I did talk about Jeff, right? Yeah, I did talk about Jeff. I didn't talk about Shark Frenzy at all. I'll go back and do that in a second. But yeah, you only use this ult a couple of times throughout the run, so frankly, not important. Not important what you pick here. If one of them looks better to you than the other, be my guest, knock yourself out. Reminds me, we did not talk about Jeff's ult. This is the last thing that I will leave you with. Oh, because it's down here, and I didn't even put it in my notes. Shark Sovereignty. This one is a funny one. Now, you can take this or not. This is a little trade-off. I do not know how much this increases your damage, but it increases your damage, it increases your rate of fire, I think. Maybe a couple of other things. What does this increase? Shark Sovereignty. Movement speed, max health, damage, ability detection area. So this is something which is going to allow you to scale your damage with a flat multiplier, which is separate from your other abilities. So naturally, for just a flat cost of 10, you buy it once, and then you scale all of your damage forever. Seems pretty good. I took it in my run, but it also increases his hitbox size, and it makes it more difficult to maneuver around the enemies. That said, I think it's worth taking. Take one of them. I wouldn't take more than one if it even shows up more than once. It said you can stack them, but I can't remember if I saw multiple of them. Anyways, this is one of those ones that's kind of at your discretion. The real downside to Shark Sovereignty is not the extra size, in my opinion. It's that it's pretty difficult to get an ult off in Nightmare 4 and not die. The Sentinels are CC immune, which means that you need to ult a group without a Sentinel being around, but it's difficult to kill off the Sentinels without killing off the squishies, and so it's just like, you've got to be really careful about when you use your ult. If you want to interact with that for the extra DPS, be my guest. I don't think you have to take this, but if you're worried about your damage with the scaling for the Wander fight, and you think you're going to be alright with the extra size and the difficulty of getting those ults off, then in that specific case, I would say that this is worth taking. That pretty much wraps up everything. So, as I said, I am presenting all of these findings having cleared Nightmare 4 on, there it is, on each and every hero. I've got all of the titles. I've completed them all solo. This is coming from not just a place of theory, but also experience. I'm going to edit this all down into one video. I was a little bit scatterbrained in presenting this. I think all of the information is there now, but I'm going to chop this up and sort of put it in the more correct order, because I realized I forgot a couple of things and had to plug them back in. As I said at the start, welcome to the little insight as to how my creative process for the videos tends to work. It is not always linear. That said, that's pretty much going to do us. I'm going to queue up a couple of games now, maybe even ranked games, but my computer cannot handle streaming the live games. It will lag me out, so I'm unable to stream that yet. So I'm going to have to end stream there. It's been an absolute blast. Thank you for hanging around. And I will be upgrading my PC at some point, hopefully soon. And then we'll be able to stream some competitive games. Until then, I'm going to do my placements. Cool. Have a great afternoon, morning, night, everyone, depending on where you are, what time zone you're in. I don't know who we've got watching, but that's going to be all for now. Have a great one, guys. Cheers.